Hey, welcome to our 15th Sunday of the year, and we have a gospel from St. Matthew. And it says, "On that day, Jesus went out of the house and sat down by the sea. Such large crowds gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat down, and the whole crowd stood along the shore. And he spoke to them at length in parables, saying, A sower went out to sow. As he sowed, some seed fell on the path, and birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky ground where it had little soil. It sprang up at once, and the soil was not deep, and when the sun rose, it was scorched, and it withered for lack of roots. Some seed fell on thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it. But some seed fell on rich soil and produced a fruit, 100 or 60 or 30-fold. Whoever has ears ought to hear." The gospel of the Lord. Yeah, wow. This is one of Jesus' most profound little parables that he tells. I like the setting. It says he went into a boat to speak to them from offshore, and they stood on the shore. I'm trying to picture that in my mind. It's like they were so crowding around him, trying to get close to him, that he couldn't address the crowd. They must have, he wouldn't back off, even if the disciples said, "Back up so he can speak to everybody." He had to get in a boat and float out a ways so that they could all see him and hear him. That was just a little detail. It must have been, people were so anxious and eager to get close to hear him. They want to be right up next to him, And I don't know, they didn't have good crowd control there. So he goes in the boat and he starts to speak to them about the seed falling on the ground. And some of it's pretty obvious to us. If you throw seed on a path, it's not going to catch. It's not going to germinate. It's hard, right? And it's like our souls can be hard sometimes and just reject. And others, rocky soil, and it doesn't really catch there either. In other hearts, it's like weeds come and engulf the new growth and choke it off. And Jesus later gives an explanation of this, and he says it's like the concerns of the world choke off the seed of the word, right? We see that happens in so many people's souls, right? Yeah, they're good for a while, and then little by little, they worry about money or popularity or, their status or what people think of them. And that gospel that they had in their hearts and that relationship with Jesus gets crowded out, right, and choked. And then he says some seed falls on good soil, and it grows and produces 160 and 30-fold. Yeah, the question is, how do we become that good soil, a rich soil, right? Well, any good farmer will tell you got to fertilize the soil. You got to give it time to rest at times as well. And I think we fertilize that soil by prayer and listening in silence. Good soil is quiet. It doesn't make any noise, doesn't shout, doesn't talk. It listens. It's receptive. Anything we can do to make our souls more receptive, right? And that's time of prayer where we're listening. And then the word can catch and produce fruit. And Jesus is always talking about producing fruit, right? It's not just a gift for us, that word, right? But the plant grows and produces fruits, flowers, or actual fruit you can eat, right? And that's what we're all called to do, produce fruits. So let's prepare that soil with prayer.